Hi, room 17 and 18. It's Miss Ashley here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day so far. It's been really nice weather the last couple of days, thank goodness, because over the weekend and the beginning of the week it was kind of crummy out. And with this nice spring weather, I figured we would kind of continue with some spring articles from Scholastic. So this week's Scholastic is called If You See a Spring Flower, You Might Bend Down to Sniff It. Now, I also sent in the email 2 sheets. Here's our worksheet and then just 6 choices to cut out. All right. So it says, if you see a spring flower, you might bend down to sniff it. If you bend down to sniff the flower, you might see a worm on the ground. If a worm is on the ground, a bird might hop over and snatch it up. And let's watch our video. That bird got the worm. If a bird snatches up the worm, it might fly to its nest and feed its chicks. Chicks are baby birds. If you look up to see it feed its chicks, you might see more spring flowers. Oh, the mom is feeding her chicks. It's kind of gross. All right. It says big word is bloom. In spring, flowers bloom. That means they grow and open up. Here are some of the first flowers to bloom in spring. So, in spring we have daffodils. Daffodils are yellow. Crocus, which I've never heard of. Those are purple and yellow. And tulips. And tulips can be all sorts of colors, but this one is pink. It says, oh, I hear my chicks peeping. They must be hungry. Oh, can you peep like a chick? All right, so now that we read our Scholastic, let's go back and do our worksheet. So, like I said before, I sent this one in our email, and it says, if you see a spring flower, use your Scholastic to answer the questions. All right, so the first question says, what blooms in spring? Well, let's go back and see what our big word is. Our big word is bloom. It says, in spring, flowers bloom. So, can you tell me what blooms in spring? Flowers or snowflakes? That's right. We know that flowers bloom in spring. So you can either put that here or you can always circle the right answer. So we know that flowers bloom in spring. All right, our next question says, what is a baby bird called? What is a baby bird called? So, my friends, you can either pick from here a chick or a cub, or we have some choices you can choose from. So, what is a baby bird called? A chick or a cub? And if we need help, we can always go back over and read. It says, if a bird snatches up the worm, it might fly to its nest and feed its chicks. So, what did we say a baby bird was? A chick or a cub? That's right. We said a baby bird is called a chick. Let's circle our answer. And if it's easier than circling, you can always glue or tape the answer on. All right. Our next question says, what does a bird feed its baby? All right, let's go back and see. It says, if a worm is on the ground, a bird might hop over and snatch it up. If a bird snatches up the worm, it might fly to its nest and feed its chicks. So, what does a bird feed its baby? Does a bird feed its baby tennis shoes or a worm? That's right, birds feed their babies worms. Very good. All right, so we read that different types of flowers bloom in the spring. And it looks here like we have some tulips, and we can color those all different colors. So, at home, you guys can color with crayons or markers. I happen to have markers on me. And you guys can do hand over hand with your students. You can let them scribble all over the page and color themselves. It's totally up to you. All right, so now that we got some of our flowers colored, let's go back and watch our video.
In winter, much of the United States is cold and still. Animals hibernate. Trees have lost their leaves. The ground is frozen. But in spring, everything warms up and wakes up. And if you listen closely, you can hear sounds of spring all around. This tiny frog is called a spring peeper. It is one of the first animals to wake up from its winter sleep. These frogs are so tiny, one can fit on the tip of your finger. may be small, but they are loud. Their throats make a bubble when they peep. In spring, you're likely to hear birds sing early in the morning. They start singing about an hour before the sun comes up. Some birds sing to tell other birds, "I'm here. This is my territory." Spring is also a time when baby birds are hatching. They sing to let their parents know they are hungry. That's the sound of someone sneezing. In spring, many people get runny, itchy noses, and they achoo! In spring, there is a lot of pollen, and pollen makes many people sneeze. Pollen is a yellow, powdery grain that is made by trees and flowers. Because it is warmer in spring, flowers are blooming everywhere. Trees are growing new leaves, and the flowers and trees are making a lot of pollen. That's the sound of spring rain. Spring is one of the rainiest times of the year, but that's good news for all the plants that are growing. They need rainwater to grow big and strong. And that's the sound of boots splashing in spring. When all that spring rain mixes with the warmer spring soil on the ground, it makes mud. I think this doggy is going to need a bath. So when you hear the peeping of a frog, the tweeting of baby birds, the pitter-patter of rain, the splashing of mud puddles, and people sneezing all around you, you'll know spring is finally here.
All right, thanks for doing our Scholastic with me. I am going to take advantage of this last month of spring. 1 month from today is the beginning of summer, and it'll get warmer, and I really enjoy spring, and I want to be able to read about it as much as we can. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I'll see you soon.